Hey everyone! I'm the classic and retro gamer, and today I'm talking about an arcade game that was cooler than a snow cone. If you grew up in the 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This wasn't just another game tucked away in the corner. It was the main event, the one that made you sprint past the pinball machines and the fighting games just to get a spot in line. Let's rewind to the 90s. Arcades were the ultimate hangout spot, buzzing with excitement, neon lights, and the sound of coins clinking. It was a time before smartphones and online gaming, when the only way to experience the thrill of competition was to show up in person, quarters in hand, ready to take on the world, or at least your friends. You walk into an arcade, lights flashing, sounds buzzing, and there it is, Alpine Racer. It wasn't just another cabinet, it was a beacon, drawing crowds with its bold design and the promise of something totally different. The anticipation built as you watched others play, their faces lit up by the screen, bodies swaying side to side. Not just a screen and joystick, but a full-on skiing experience. Step onto giant skis, grab the poles, and suddenly you're racing down a snowy mountain. The machine rumbled beneath your feet, and for a moment, you forgot you were in a crowded arcade. You were carving through powder, dodging trees, and chasing that perfect run. Alpine Racer was more than a game. It was an event. Everyone lined up for it, saving quarters just for a shot. It didn't matter if you were a seasoned gamer or just there for fun, everyone wanted a turn. The line was a mix of anticipation and friendly rivalry, with players swapping tips and stories about their best runs. Unlike button mashers, this game had you using your whole body. Lean into turns, feel the rush, imagination and adrenaline combined. It was immersive in a way few games were back then, making you feel like you were actually on the slopes, wind in your hair, heart pounding as you raced against the clock. It was a mini workout, but way more fun than the gym. The energy was electric. Cheers, gasps, and shouts filled the air. Friends gathered around, egging each other on, celebrating victories and laughing at spectacular wipeouts. It was a social experience, a place where memories were made and friendships were forged. It brought people together, challenging friends and chasing high scores. The graphics were bright, the music catchy, and the vibe pure happiness. Every run was a chance to outdo yourself or your friends, and the leaderboard was a badge of honor. The thrill of seeing your initials at the top was unmatched. The cabinet was bold, screaming, "Play me," in a sea of arcade boxes. For a few minutes, you were a world-class skier, a hero of the slopes. The design itself was unforgettable, sleek, colorful, and impossible to ignore. It was the kind of game that made you feel like a superstar, even if you wiped out halfway down the mountain. It was a fantasy come to life, powered by quarters and pure joy. Alpine Racer wasn't just a game, it was a memory maker. Every play was a story, every high score a triumph. Even if you never made it to the top of the leaderboard, you left with a smile and a story to tell. It stood out, not just for how it played, but for how it made you feel. That's why it's still legendary today. Alpine Racer captured the spirit of the arcade era. Fun, friendship, and a little bit of fantasy. It's a reminder of a time when all you needed was a handful of quarters and a sense of adventure. Who brought this winter wonderland to arcades? It was none other than Namco, the legendary company behind some of the most iconic games in history, like Pac-Man and Galaga. For decades, Namco had been a driving force in the arcade world, constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible and capturing the imaginations of gamers everywhere. In 1994, Namco set out to do something truly groundbreaking. They wanted to create an arcade experience that you simply couldn't replicate at home, no matter how advanced your console was. To achieve this, they embraced cutting-edge 3D technology, which was still new and exciting at the time. Their goal was to make games more immersive, more interactive, and more memorable than ever before. Out of this spirit of innovation, Alpine Racer was born. This wasn't just another arcade game, it was a whole new way to play. The cabinet itself was as much a part of the experience as the game on the screen. Players didn't just sit and press buttons, they stood up, grabbed the handles, and physically leaned into every turn, simulating the thrill of skiing down a mountain. It was experiential gaming at its absolute best. Namco's talented team understood that players were craving more than just flashy graphics. They wanted to feel like they were truly part of the action. By combining their powerful System 22 hardware with a unique ski setup, they delivered a game that was both visually stunning and physically engaging. The result was a machine that challenged players' reflexes and balance, making every run down the virtual slopes an adrenaline rush. It was a bold move, big, expensive, and unlike anything else in the arcade at the time. But Namco's gamble paid off. Alpine Racer didn't just look amazing, it felt incredible to play. The sense of speed, the physicality, and the competitive spirit drew crowds and kept players coming back for more. Namco didn't just make a game, they crafted an unforgettable experience that left a lasting mark on arcade history. That's why, even decades later, we're still talking about Alpine Racer and the big idea that made it possible. How did you play? Simple genius. Step onto ski-like footpads, grab the poles, and you're set. Shift your weight to steer, lean left, lean right, turn right. Speed up by pointing skis straight, slow down by angling them in. Race down the mountain, pass through checkpoints before time runs out. Navigate gates like a real slalom, miss one, lose precious seconds. It was about speed and control, not just going fast. The physical feedback was key. You felt every turn under your feet. Immersion was next level for its time. Every run was a blend of strategy, movement, and adrenaline. It was a full-body experience that left you wanting more. Alpine Racer debuted in 1994 and was an instant sensation. In a world of fighting games, it offered a fresh, family-friendly thrill. Its massive cabinet drew crowds and became a top-grossing game. The sequel, Alpine Racer 2, added new courses, better graphics, and head-to-head racing. Namco kept innovating with Alpine Surfer and Alpine Racer 3. The series became a staple in arcades for nearly a decade. Even as arcades faded, Alpine Racer's legacy lived on in home collections. Its design and fun factor remain timeless. Time for some Alpine Racer trivia. The cabinet was over 7 feet tall and weighed more than 500 pounds. A true arcade centerpiece. There was a hidden character, a snowboarding alien named Kion Kion, unlocked with a secret code. The game ran on Namco System 22 hardware, pushing 240,000 polygons per second, mind-blowing for 1994. It ran at 60 frames per second, making gameplay super smooth. Alpine Racer's popularity even inspired real-life fashion trends in Japan. Bright ski gear became street style, thanks to the game's influence. It wasn't just a game, it was a cultural phenomenon. Alpine Racer captured the spirit of the 90s. Its impact went far beyond the arcade. Why does Alpine Racer still matter, even decades after its release? If you had to sum it up in one word, it would be experience. But really, it's so much more than that. Alpine Racer is a time machine, a portal back to the golden age of arcades, when every visit felt like an adventure. It wasn't just a game, it was an event you had to be there for. The excitement in the air was electric, with crowds gathering to watch, cheer, and take turns. It brought people together, turning strangers into friends, all united by the thrill of the slopes. The simple concept, ski down a hill, beat the clock, was pure genius. It was easy to understand, but hard to master, keeping you coming back for more. Every run felt like a new challenge, and every second shaved off your time was a victory. No complicated menus, no confusing controls, just instant fun for everyone. Whether you were a kid or an adult, you could jump right in and start playing. That accessibility was a huge part of its magic. Its accessibility and energy made it unforgettable. The rush of wind, the cheers from your friends, and the pounding of your heart as you raced down the virtual mountain created memories that lasted long after you left the arcade. The neon colors, the infectious J-pop soundtrack, and the wild announcer all screamed 90s nostalgia. The whole atmosphere was a sensory overload in the best way possible, making every play session feel like a party. Playing it now is like opening a time capsule. The sights, the sounds, even the feel of the controls instantly transport you back to a simpler, more joyful time. Alpine Racer wasn't about realism, it was about maximum fun. It didn't matter if you'd never skied before. On this machine, everyone was a champion, and every run was an adventure. It made you feel the thrill of speed and the joy of competition. Leaning into every turn, racing your friends, and pushing for that top score was pure exhilaration. The memories, laughing with friends, chasing high scores, and sharing those moments of triumph are what make it legendary. It's those shared experiences that stick with you long after the game is over. It was full of heart, and that never gets old. The joy, the camaraderie, and the pure fun are timeless. Alpine Racer is a true arcade classic, a legend that continues to inspire smiles and memories generation after generation. That's the story of Alpine Racer, a ride like no other. From its bold cabinet to its addictive gameplay, it defined arcade magic. It dared to be different, making you move, lean, and feel the action. Arcades were about wonder and community, and Alpine Racer was king. Even today, if you find a cabinet, the magic is still there. Step on, grab the poles, and you'll get it. The fun is timeless. It proves you don't need fancy graphics for a legendary game. All you need is a great idea and a lot of heart. Here's to Alpine Racer, a true legend and a source of endless memories. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more retro gaming content. Who's up for another run? I'll race ya.